Hi guys, welcome back to Reality with Tea. This evening I'm sipping on my vanilla chamomile honey tea by Celestial Seasonings, sweetened with honey and lemon. And this is the perfect good night, get you tired tea. Thank you for joining me. Okay, so let's get started. I didn't get to post last week about 90 Day Fiance the other way because I was away. So this one is going to be pretty much a recap of both. Okay, but I will still keep it brief. I'm watching my timer, don't worry. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to start out first with Ariella and Benjamin. I hope I'm saying it correctly. So basically, last week they did a tour of a hospital in Ethiopia. Ariella's mom is a nurse in the United States, and she wants to check out the hospital to make sure that it's safe, they have all the supplies they need. She's under the impression that if the child needs neonatal care, that they might not have that type of intensive support in an Ethiopian hospital, so she wants to make sure they have everything they need. So they do a tour, and she's actually very impressed. To me, it's just a little bit demeaning because it's like, wow, they actually have a hospital that, that has all the supplies that they need. The hospital is actually very clean. The nurses and the doctors are actually supportive and know what they're doing. I mean, I kind of feel like it's a hospital. To me, it should be an abnormality if they don't have those things. But it's almost like she was expecting them not to. But that's how they do. The United States, American privilege. Everybody's looking down on every other country. So supposedly we have the best of everything here. But she's pleasantly surprised, and she is okay with Ariella having the baby there, I believe. So she starts kind of grilling Benjamin on how he's going to support his family, saying that, he already doesn't make a lot of money. She already sees what he's trying to do with the apartments, and she wants to know how he's going to support them. So, and then she also wants to know how he's going to support them. And she also wants to know if he wants to come to the United States. Is that his intention? So she's grilling him, and to me, he's doing the best he can. It seems like he has good intentions. It seems like he isn't really that excited about coming to the United States. It doesn't seem like that was his goal. So we'll see where this goes, So this week we see them, the mom goes to meet with Benjamin's family, and I think he has two sisters that they meet with, and so they're having a talk. They're feeding them raw meat. Well, I was already like, oh my goodness, Ariella's pregnant. How is she gonna eat raw meat? But people do it, and I guess they're fine. Mom and Ariella, they were champs. They did it. They said it was a tradition for somebody else to feed you. I guess those of the native country to feed the visitor, and they ate it and they swallowed it. They might have done better than me. So they seem to be getting along pretty well with his family members. So now you have Mom and Ariella going to see what Benjamin does at night, and apparently he's a dancer, and he dances at a nightclub, and his dance partner is actually his ex-girlfriend. And she's beautiful, and Ari keeps saying, wow, she's beautiful. Now Mom is just trying to kind of twist the knife a bit, and she keeps kind of trying to dig under Ariella's skin, saying, oh, she's beautiful. Oh, that girl is flexible. Ooh, and then she's just trying to put seeds in her head, like, ooh, they make a great match. They're good dance partners. How often are they doing this? And she's kind of thinking, so he's going to be out at night dancing while you're at home pregnant or with the new baby. And she's kind of, trying to get Ariella to think kind of differently, but really all she's doing is making Ari pretty jealous. And Ari already says, to the camera, I am jealous of this girl, So she talks about to Benjamin, I guess in the past he's lied to the other girlfriend, and so she's kind of saying, I forgot what the conversation was because they don't really interest me, but it was something about him saying, in order for me to get out of whatever kind of trouble he was going to get into with his ex-girlfriend, he told little white lies. And that makes her very uncomfortable because she's like, you shouldn't be lying to get out of something that you did. So we'll see where they go with that, but I don't really remember much more about their segment, so let's move on. Okay, now we have Jihoon and Devin. So I find them the most interesting. I mean, this season to me isn't, it's kind of lagging, but I do find them to be pretty interesting. So last week we see that Devin went to a hotel because the apartment that she had rented wasn't big enough and it wasn't in a safe neighborhood. So her family went to a hotel, and then you see her taking her mother to the market where they have basically everything. They have toys for the kids, they have food, they have anything pretty much that you could ever want. But then you also see how difficult it is for them to navigate just even the marketplace and the restaurant that they eat in, not knowing the language. So it makes her realize how much she would be relying on Jihoon if she were to move there full time, because nothing is in English and she's unable to communicate. So they end up pretty much having to just point at something on the menu and just hoping that it's something that they like. So, that's kind of could be a precursor to what she's going to be dealing with when she moves there full time. Okay, so she goes, I think that evening she wants to meet with Jihoon's family and speak to his mother about why he's putting money in the mother's account, and what's up with that. So basically when she enters, the dad stands to meet Devin, and the mother doesn't stand. I think the dad even said to her, like, get up, and the mother's like, no, because the mother's not fond of Devin anyway, right? And she's one of those mothers that just make excuses after excuses for her son and doesn't hold him accountable for anything. So at one point, Jihoon crosses paths with her in the restaurant, and he doesn't say anything. He makes no eye contact, and she's confused, like, well, what is he mad at? But he tells her later that he did make eye contact with her because he was so disappointed in himself he couldn't face her, right? So the dad ends up apologizing they're using a translator app, and the translator, the little thingy, is a pretty bad translator. So it's translating, it starts out okay, and then it starts translating everything wrong. And the dad ends up, just apologizing to Devin for everything, because I think he understands, like, this woman really gave up everything, expecting my son to show up for her and be ready to care for her and her kids, and that's not what's happened. So he apologizes. The mother is not having it, and I already see from this interaction the mother's going to be a piece of work. So you get down to the point where the translator app, where Jihoon, I think he apologizes, and he says something like, I gave the money to my mother so that I would not waste the money. And the translator app says, I'm just going to waste the money again. So, Devin is done. And then the mother ends up, after the back and forth, the mother ends up kind of giggling and laughing. And then Devin's like, she doesn't know what anybody is saying at the table. And then she ends up saying, well, they're taking me as a joke. So she's like, I just want to leave. And Jihoon is frustrated because the translator app is translating everything wrong and everything is going awry. So he gets up and he walks out. He's just like, go back to the USA. He says some things he doesn't mean, and he storms out, and it's a hot mess. And so Devin just asked the producers, listen, can I get a break? So the mother's basically taking Jihoon's side, saying, so what that he lied? You lied. Korean men lie. Remember she said that last episode. Korean men lie. What does she expect? Pretty much, what is she expecting of him? She expects all this stuff for him. And whatever. He doesn't give it to her, but she'll be fine. And the father is kind of like, you don't understand what is happening right now. So now this episode, we see the end of this conversation. You see the father saying, I think the mother and the father both talking to her producers, and the father is saying he understands where she's coming from, and the mother's trying to talk. And at one point, the mother's just like, just get out of here. Let me finish this interview, because you don't know what you're saying, and whatever, is not my son's fault. So the father just kind of leaves, and the mother and the father disagree on whose side they're on. So Jihoon goes to meet with Devin outside of the restaurant, and they're both very upset. And let's see. So she says to him, at one point she said, why were you not saving money, or why were you spending the money you were saving for us when I was in America? And he ends up, I like Jihoon because he's very honest. And he says, because I didn't take you seriously. And she's like, I am done. Don't ever speak to me again. she was pregnant. How can you say you didn't take it seriously? But I do give him credit for being honest and also realizing he's like, listen, I'm changing now. I've changed. I was a young boy then. I didn't understand it, and I think it was hard for him to really see it in a concrete fashion because she's away. You're only having FaceTime and you're only talking on the phone, so it's not really real to him that a baby is coming. So he was still like doing his thing, I guess, spending his money. And she's like, I put everything into this, and you tell me you didn't take me seriously. So I think, I like Jihoon because I think he has personality and I think he has a lot of likable qualities about him. I think that she does need to give him a chance to show that he changed because she did just arrive like a day or two before. And even though he messed up the money and everything, I know the stakes are high because you're there and you don't have much, but I think he needs an opportunity to show that he has changed. So basically, she tells him, well, basically, I need the money right now. You're telling me you gave your mother $3,000 to hold for you. I need to see it right now. And he's like, all right, I'll get it tomorrow. No, I need to see it right now so that I know that you're real. He says, okay. Basically, anything you need me to do for you to save this relationship, I'll do. And I respected him for that. He went upstairs to the restaurant. Mom, let's go downstairs to the ATM. Let's get this money out right now. She's like, right now? Let's do it tomorrow. No, right now. He went, got the $3,000 in cash and brought it to her. And it's like she just kind of fell over, and it seemed like it was just a relief for her because you have to think about it. She brought her mother with her. She's embarrassed. Her mother's already skeptical about this guy. He made this big, she doesn't want to be made a fool of. She doesn't want to be out there with nothing. She wanted to at least like, let me trust your word in this. And like she said, it has nothing to do with the money. I just want to know that you're not lying to me. And she was just kind of relieved, like, oh, I'm just so happy that you at least came through right now. Cut to the next day, she's still upset about it, but I mean, he keeps apologizing and he's saying, give me, let me do whatever I need to do, just let me show you. He begs for another chance, and I believe she's gonna give it to him. But she did tell him, she gave him the 3 things that he needs to do. She said, number 1, don't ever talk to me like you talked to me last night, saying things that you didn't mean. Number 2, we need to have a joint account that we both use, and no more putting into your mother's account. And number 3, I'm going to give you 1 month to show me that you changed. And basically, she said, I'm doing this for the kids. But I want your son to grow up around you, so this is why I'm doing it. So we'll see if he shows up and he's able to do it. Okay. Next, I have Melissa and Tim. I'm not going to spend too much time on them. So far, they're pretty boring. He's moved to Colombia to be with her. He cheated on her with a coworker. So I believe this episode he went to go see her parents, and apparently her parents loved him. But now that the mother knows that he has cheated, she is very much over him. She's done. Like he's gonna have to somehow prove himself to win her love back. And basically, Melissa's to the point where if my parents don't accept you, then I won't. This relationship won't work. So he's trying. He's been crying everywhere, apologizing. He thinks he's putting his best foot forward. We'll see. They sit to eat. The dad knows something is going on, but they didn't tell the dad outright that he cheated. But he is aware that there's, he kind of asked, well, why are you moving to Colombia? I thought the whole thing was for Melissa to move to the United States. And so I guess next episode they're going to tell him that, or either, did it happen this episode? I don't remember because I just wasn't interested. But that he cheated on Melissa. Melissa pretty much has the resting bitch face most of the time, and she shows no emotion. So I think that's why I lose interest. But we'll see where they go. Okay, we have Sumit and Jenny. They begin their segment, eating with his brother, and basically saying, our parents don't accept you because of your age. And she says outright, how do we fix this? Because I'm here, I'm not going anywhere. After this divorce, he and I are going to get married, so what can we do? And Sumit's brother finally says, well, listen, you got to come meet our parents. Sumit said, I tried, they won't agree to it. And he's like, you have to meet them. The brother seems to be on their side, like anything I can do to help. But I think he also agrees, like, this is kind of ridiculous because of her age. But, they're in love. They say they're in love. So he also says, I just want everybody to be happy. So we'll see if meeting the parents does anything for this relationship. And then, is that everybody that I have? Because they didn't talk about, forgot her name, the one from Miami and the guy that's in Jordan. They didn't talk about them this week. Last week, okay, we did talk about, oh, they talked about him last week. Okay. Um, Ken and Armando. Let's go back to them. Then I'll get back to Brittany and Yazan. Ken and Armando, we see them in Mexico City, and they're walking down the street, and Armando tries to hold Ken's hand, and Armando says no, and he thinks it's an Armando problem. Ken does, and my thing is, you should know. Again, you should know where you're moving to. You need to know the belief system, the mores, the culture of the place that you're moving to, because I'm pretty sure Armando knows, listen, this is not accepted in this country and a lot of other countries. And I'm just thinking of, um, you know, countries in the Caribbean, countries, on different continents where being gay and showing PDA is completely not accepted. And also, like, it can get you hurt badly, it can get you killed. So Armando is very aware of that, and Armando has to slow him down and say, listen, you have to remember, you're like almost 60 years old. You've been out all of your life, 40 something years, right? I'm just now coming out to my parents. I'm not out publicly, not only because I'm not comfortable with it, but because it's not culturally accepted here. We have to be very careful. We are already living in a place that's gated because we don't want to be harmed because of what, the life that we're living. So he's trying to make Ken aware, like, listen, it's nothing personal, but we can't just be walking down the street holding hands, all this kind of stuff like you can in California. This is Mexico City. So he, it seems like Ken kind of expects Armando to be out the way that he is. So that's going to be an interesting aspect of their relationship when they say, well, number one, they have to go meet the parents next week. And then also, how is Ken going to feel about them having to pretty much be closeted while, for, we don't know how long they're going to be living in Mexico City, but for at least, the life that they live for the next few years, how is this going to play out in their relationship? We'll see. Brittany and Yazan. They did not talk about them this episode, but they did talk about them last episode. So I'll quickly go over when they met with Yazan's uncle. And the uncle seems to be well-traveled. It seems like he's been around a lot of different people. And he is able to say, I've seen a lot of different people, so I'm a little bit more open-minded. But Yazan's parents are still very conservative. And they're very much into their religion and the culture and the traditions and they expect Yazan to be the same way. So they're explaining to the uncle, like, Brittany is open and she seems to be open to, his religion, but she doesn't want it pushed on her. And if it's pushed on her, she's just going to resist it and she's not going to accept it. She's not going to understand it. She's not going to want to be a part of it. And the uncle understands. So the uncle says, I will talk to your parents and see if I can get them to kind of loosen up, because I understand that she's not ready to get married. She's not ready to convert, immediately. This is something that she wants to learn and she wants to kind of crawl to it and not have it forced on her. So, I think it's a good sign that she is open to converting to the religion. But again, you can't force anybody to just completely, she's literally been there like 2 days and they're like, okay, you need to get married in 3 days. You need to become a Muslim. You need to act this way. And pretty much Yazan says you have to change yourself. So I don't think that this relationship is going to work, honestly, because she is very much into, this is who I am and I'm not going to be this way. And you see, she's still walking around uncovered. She did it out of respect for his parents, but she's like, that's not me. And that's not something that I'm going to, do immediately. But she's open to it. So we will see. Will love prevail in this situation? Rise above, the country she's living in, the culture, the religion, his family. They have a lot of factors against them. So we will see if this is going to work. This is an interesting couple. I do think, though, that they love each other. They're very much into each other. But as she said, are they going to be able to be happy, despite everything else that they're up against? We will see. So that was a quick review of last week and this week's 90 Day Fiance The Other Way. Thank you for joining me, Reality with T, and I will see you next week. Please leave me comments in the comments section, like and subscribe. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.